electronics, sensors, and critical futuristic technologies panel discussion. For the moderator, we have Mr. Sudheer Narayan, partner, Bain and Company. Mr. Sudheer Narayan is a partner at Bain and Company and is a leader in the firm's technology, media, and telecom and strategy practices, specializing in semiconductors, hardware, and technology services. With more than 20 years of experience, Mr. Sudheer has advised clients in a variety of sectors on topics such as full potential transformation, growth, technology platforms, and capability sourcing. Let's give him a warm round of applause and let's welcome our moderator for the session. May I request Colonel Anupam Tiwari, PhD from 515 Army Base Workshop to please join us on the stage. Colonel Premnath Othayoth, SM from 515 Army Base Workshop. Let's give them a warm round of applause, everybody together. Dr. D.S. Rawal, Associate Director and OS, SSPL, DRDO. Mr. Vinod Yadav, Vice President, Design, Tata Advanced Systems. Mr. Sarin Sundar, CTO, India Semiconductor Mission, Equipment and R&D. Let's give them a warm round of applause once again, everybody. Over to Sudheer Narayan, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks to the ELCINA team and all the esteemed participants here for joining together. The team introduced myself, but maybe just two lines. I'm Sudheer Narayan. I'm a partner at Bain and Company, which we are a management consulting firm. I work in the hardware semiconductor space, which is a horizontal, and defense and strategic electronics forms a critical part of the hardware ecosystem. If you look at most mature advanced economies, US or Israel or South Korea, strategic electronics has played a central role in the growth of the broader ecosystem and depth as well. We had the opportunity from Mr. Rajuji and Shashi to focus. We had discussed a bunch of topics. We selected sensors based on the strategic relevance or importance of sensors as a component in the strategic electronics. I'm just going to quickly, we launched this white paper earlier today. Want to quickly highlight some of the key points that we want to place in front of both the defense audience, the government audience, and the industry audience for consideration. So I think Vish was much more articulate just before me. The defense spend is really taking scale, and with self-reliance and Atmanirbharta as the center, the defense spend is almost close to $78 billion, out of which, if I look at just the electronic spend, which is not just the sensor spend, the electronic spend itself will be about $5 to $6 billion. And this is very large numbers. $1 billion is close to 10,000 crores. So we are talking about 50,000 crores of electronic spend, which is made every year as part of the overall country's expenditure. Now, if I look at within the electronic spend itself, about 30% of electronics, specifically in the strategic sense sector, is comprised by sensors. So it's about $1.5 billion today, and this is expected to grow to about $4 billion of sensor consumption across all the platforms that Indian defense sector will consume. And currently, if you look at it, our local consumption or locally sourced consumption of sensors is very marginal, and we see a potential of over the next 5-6 years, this has a potential of being up to 20-30% of the overall consumption. So that gives a strategic and economic opportunity of close to $1 billion for industry to participate and make this happen. Let me make a case on why we believe the $1 billion is possible. And before I go there, I think we also created this report with a view of the broader audience, right? Now, sensors is not just a single device. There are various kinds of sensors, and there is a range of technologies and end applications which come into play. And if you look at sensors, there are broadly three kinds of sensors. There is electromagnetic radiation. The first ones are all the electro-optical and infrared sensors, both passive and active sensors. Passive sensors are the ones which operate without their own light source. Active sensors work with their own light, they have a light source themselves, including lasers. There are RF related sensors, then mechanical sensors, which include acoustic sonar, which are very critical. We have spoken about the marine space, a lot of the pressure and inertial sensors, which are almost omnipresent in all the defense platforms when they work on the field. And then there are newer sensors which are niche but expected to be very critical in terms of chemical, biological, nuclear, magnetic and electrical field sensors, right? So when we say sensors, it seems like one topic, but it's actually a range of topics that industry needs to figure out which spaces to play on. And when we talk about sensors as well, it has three parts in the industrial value chain. The first part is the IP creation and the fabrication, which is has different core material sciences, material development, and fabrication technologies involved. Then fabrication gets into the packaging of the sensor device and gets into the co-packaging of the IC along with the sensor optics in terms of the readout electronics. And then the final module assembly, which has all the cryo coolers and the entire chassis coming together. Each of this is a range of technologies which the Indian ecosystem needs to master to be self-competent, and these are all part of the precision capability where reliability is of highest order for the strategic sector to trust and sort of consume from locally developed sources. So I'll not go into a lot of details here. I think what we wanted to show here is when I said 30%, it was a big insight for all of us when we studied the space. The range of applications of sensors across Army, Navy, and the Air Force, across the different kinds of sensors that we spoke about here, is multifarious. It's almost like the sensory organs of all the platforms, the tanks, the submarines, the drones, the helicopters, both from a vision perspective and sensing the environment perspective. Having said that, I think we are not starting at zero or at an origin, right? There is a lot which is already inherent and developed and built over a period of time. Starting under the demand side, I think there is a lot of effort from the government on defense procurement, even though there is constant feedback and rightfully so for continuous simplification and ease of industry to participate. There is a clear nomination of PIL list, indigenization list. We have Mr. Sareen here. The broader government, including MIT, has been very instrumental in deepening the ecosystem on the electronic space, be it ISM or ECMS. That will further accelerate this development. The Ministry of Defense itself has done significant work around IDEX and the development fund for developing this, and different state governments are investing in defense corridors to develop the component and manufacturing ecosystem, offset policy, and so on. So there is multiple vehicles which are coming together to make the ecosystem develop even further. When we looked at the overall, the opportunity is the following, right? I think we as a hardware ecosystem, we are reasonably deep on the downstream module or device level assembly space, which is where the sensor module assembly comes in. There is a lot of EMS players who have taken step in the module assembly capability, and it's not completely dependent from an import dependency point of view right now. As the OSAT ecosystem comes up, there is a sizable opportunity to capture on the OSAT space. And there is a lot of IP which is present in the DRDO labs like SSPL and so on, which can be made to production at a scale level on a fabrication basis to reduce the import dependency much further. We think, and this is a reason why we believe there is $1 billion opportunity for for India to capture. From an overall consumption of 4 billion, we are talking about a small share out here. We already have significant depth in terms of core technology capabilities across the value chain. Given this large domestic market, we have done it in past in other sectors. We can create globally competitive players, and it requires robust R&D and innovation to drive this to fruition. A few thoughts, and which we will discuss further in the panel. I think and this is, we studied a few other ecosystem like South Korea or Germany and so on. Sorry, South Korea more, for not Germany, South Korea and a few other countries. We think there is a need to maybe think of an apex body for integrating all the different moving parts. I think even within the government, I was talking to a few of the panelists, the different investments across departments are not fully engaging in a seamless manner. So an apex body for ecosystem integration would be helpful. And clear focus on sensors, given the critical technology, and we'll talk to Colonel Tiwari further on this topic. And leveraging, not just think of it as a defense ecosystem in standalone, but leveraging the broader industrial ecosystem to hit this space, right? To do this, we think there are 6 key enablers which we recommend for the broader ecosystem to debate and execute on. First, clearly come together on what will be the sensor roadmap. I think there needs to be a clear articulation of what's step 1, step 2, step 3 on sensor indigenization and how to come together as industry, defense, and government. There needs to be targeted incentives. There are a lot of incentives like IDEX and ECMS and so on. But if some of them can be targeted towards sensors as a category, it will be really great. There will be need for technology transfer from trusted global partners. I think the government and nodal agencies can play a big role in terms of bringing in technology into the ecosystem. The fourth point is the most critical point according to me, which is getting a standard qualification framework for industry to participate. It's not enough that they've developed to 80% readiness. It needs to be 100% ready for defense ecosystem to adopt and take into consumption. And we'll, Mr. Sarin, you were mentioning about trusted foundries and strategic fab partnerships. That's an important element to talk about as well. So with that, I would say this is a huge opportunity of not just economic nature, but a strategic compulsion that we need to act now. And over the next 4-5 years, if we are able to execute well on this, it will not just have deep strategic benefits for us, but also large economic opportunity for industry to benefit as well. And of course, there are associated benefits on the society, on jobs and quality of life and so on. So thank you so much. Thanks once again to Rajuji and the ELCINA team for this platform on this very critical topic. Special thanks to General Chandele, Mr. Ramachandran and others to help us through the process over the last couple of months. With that, I'll go kickstart the panel. Thank you. So given you are coming from the forces and you build platforms which consume a lot of sensors, what do you think what are you seeing in terms of sensor technologies and critical technologies which are coming in? And what are current gaps from supply that you wish gets addressed over a period of time?